Good morning. Welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together and continuing to just peace out, right? We have a big God. He's in heaven. He does what he pleases, and heaven is not a democracy. You can't vote peace out. Vote peace out, peace out. Well, vote for peace out. You can't vote peace out. You can't vote salvation out. You can't vote redemption out. You can't vote anything out. God has said things, they are in place, and you can't change it. You can just decide to accept it and enjoy it, or reject it and be miserable the rest of your lives. Really, it's really that simple. But you know what? I was studying this morning. I've been studying a lot of different things this morning. But I landed here in 1 Samuel 10 because I was praying about several things that are going on in my life right now. And as I encourage y'all to do that too. If something's going on, pray about it. Talk it out with God. Write it out in your journal. Give it back to him. A lot of times when I'm writing something out of my journal, it turns into a prayer or it turns into an answer. I like it when God answers that way, right? And so I was praying about several different things and just looking for some direction and things like that. And I just thought, you know what? God sees it. He knows we are just human. He remembers how he made us out of dirt. As a matter of fact, he says, you're going to return to the dirt you were made from. Right? When we die, we go back, our body decays, but we go be with the Lord. That's the good part. That's the hope part. That's the joy part. We don't have to fear death. We get to go be with Jesus forever. And it's going to be a wonderful experience, right? We don't even comprehend how that's going to be because we are so stuck on what we see with our eyes. But I was thinking about how God sees into our lives. He knows what's going on. Good, bad, indifferent, the wonderful stuff, the bad stuff, the horrible stuff we do, don't tell anybody about, the stuff we try to hide from others. God gets it. And he still loves us. So here's the story I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking about Saul. Now, the children of Israel decided they wanted a king, and God said, I don't want to be your king. I don't want to give you a human king. Just worship me and let me be your king. They went, no, we want to be like everyone else. Danger. There's the problem. We want to be like all the other nations. We want a real flesh and blood king that can sit on a real throne that we build with our own hands. We don't want to just have God as our king, even though God's heart was, just walk with me. Let me be your king. So people prayed for kings. And so finally God tells Samuel, you're going to anoint Saul as a king. Now Saul was really tall. It says he was head and shoulders above everyone else. I imagine him as Shaquille O'Neal or somebody who's really, really tall. Yeah, some of those really tall basketball players. I think it's Saul. He was really tall, and he was well liked. And God said, that's the one who's going to be king. Now, Saul didn't know that, right? And so he actually went looking for his dad's missing livestock, and the prophet knew he was coming. Samuel knew he was coming, so he actually went to the prophet to find it. He went to the prophet and say, can you see where my dad's donkeys are? I need to find this livestock. But Samuel set Saul at a table and treated him as a king. He had a feast prepared. He set Saul at the head of the table. It was what I call a prophetic statement because he knew Saul was going to be king, even though Saul's name wasn't even known in the kingdom yet. But Samuel knew because God told him that Saul was going to be king, so he treated him like the king he was, even before he needed to or had to, right? He acted on what God had showed him. And that's all we're doing when we peace out, really. When we realize that God gave us peace and we choose to accept that peace rather than the chaos of the world, rather than the chaotic craziness that goes on around us, rather than the fear, rather than fill in the blank, right? Then we're acting on what God said. And that's all Samuel was doing too. And so Saul goes and Samuel tells Saul, you're going to be the next king. He told him what was going to go down. Saul didn't tell anybody. He just left and went and got his dad's livestock and took him home like a good little boy. Big boy. And then when it came time to anoint him king, the people were all there. They couldn't find him. He went and hid. Maybe he understood the responsibility at this point of what being king was, and he didn't have an example. There wasn't a king that he could go, oh, can you train me, teach me how to be king, teach me how to walk righteous before God and still be king and have just weights and and rule the land in with integrity and honesty. And he didn't have anybody. It was just him. So he went and hid. And they said, where did he go? Because he was tall. They could find him in a crowd easy, right? And they're like, where did he go? And they said, oh, there he is. He's hid. God said he's hidden in the equipment. And they went over there and went, Saul, get out here, right? But he was hidden. And here's what got me on that part of the story. Even if I'm afraid, even if I'm unsure, even if I'm fearful, maybe I just don't feel like people anymore or something, but and I hide in my little cave. Even if we hide, God knows where we are. He told them, go get Saul. He's over there with the equipment, with the luggage, with the baggage, with all the stuff. That's what King James calls it, stuff. ESV called it the equipment. And he was hidden over there. And they went over there and went, come on. And Samuel anointed him as king at that point. But God knew exactly where Saul was. He knew that he was worried. He knew that Saul was upset. He knew that Saul was just not really sure of himself. Like I said, he had nobody before him to look up to and to model after. He's going into a new path that's never been laid down there. He's having to lay the path, and he doesn't know. So he went and hid. And God said, he's right there. He is right there. But you know what? God found somebody else that was hidden. We've talked about him a lot. Gideon was hiding. Remember, he was hiding and threshing out his wheat so the Midianites wouldn't come and take it. And many people say that was an act of fear, and he probably was a little bit afraid, but I think it was more an act of just being stubborn and going, get my wheat today. I'm going to find a way. It was at night, and he was in the wine press, not the place they're supposed to thresh wheat. There's not even any wind to get the chaff out of the wheat, because when you beat it and you throw it up in the air and the wind carries the chaff out, and he's over in the wine press, not on the threshing floor. He was in the wrong spot because he was hiding. And guess what? The angel of the Lord just walks in and goes, hey, mighty man of valor, you're fixing to lead an army. And Gideon's like, I don't lead armies. I'm threshing wheat. The Midianites are overtaking us, and I'm just trying to feed my family, right? But God knew exactly what Gideon was. What is my point this morning? My point is, even when we're scared, God doesn't say, well, I'll talk to you when you come back out over here and stop hiding. He doesn't say, get it together and then I'll help you. He knows exactly when our heart goes into hiding, and he knows exactly what causes us to withdraw. And yet he meets us there. He met Saul right there in that equipment. 1 Samuel chapter 10, by the way, if you're looking it up, right? You look up the whole story there. 9 and 10, really. And he knew where Saul was, and he knew why he was there. And he said, go get Saul. I want him to be the king. He knew where Gideon was. He said, go get Gideon. I want him to lead my army, into a mighty victory. Two very different stories, but both times our main character was hiding. And both times God knew exactly where they were, and he had a specific task for each of them that were very different. Don't think you can hide from God. And that's not a scary thing. See, sometimes I used to think, oh my gosh, I can't even hide from God, so he knows that I did this, or he knows that I did that, or he knows about that I tried. I wouldn't tell anybody that I ever did that. It's not even in my journal. You'll never find it. God knows. And it can be scary because we think, oh, he's just going to walk in where we're trying to hide. But it's always for something good. Saul, get out of there. Come be king. Was Saul going to be perfect? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, in a few chapters, we're going to find that God ripped the kingdom from Saul because he did not. He departed from God's ways, and God went, give me that back. We're going to give it to somebody else. Of course, it went to David eventually, right? A man after God's own heart. Gideon wasn't perfect. He did all kinds of crazy stuff. As a matter of fact, I use him in my leadership manual as what not to do as a leader, because he actually caused the people to stumble into idolatry in the end, even though God used him. But God didn't say, I know you're going to mess up later, so I'm not even going to use you. God has so much grace. God has so much wisdom. He has so much love for us that he looks past everything and finds our heart. But see, I don't fear being seen now. I used to fear being seen by God. Oh my gosh, you're going to see this. It's not like he didn't see it. It's not like he doesn't know. Right? And so now I want him to walk through my heart. I want him to walk through my heart and say, get rid of that, get rid of that, and keep that, do that more, don't do that anymore. I want him to walk through my heart. Do we want to be hidden from God? We're not hidden, by the way, we're not hidden from God. Even when we think we are, even when we think that Saul thought he had a good hiding spot, and God had to tell him where he was, so it probably was a good hiding spot. Gideon thought he was hiding from the Midianites. He thought he had a good hiding spot. Both times God just walks in and goes, come with me. I don't want to hide from God. But even if I do, God knows exactly where I am, exactly why I chose to be there, and exactly how to lead me out. And I'm going to trust him to do that today. And I hope he does the same thing for you. I hope he walks into whatever darkness you're facing in your life. I hope he walks into whatever trouble you feel is weighing you down today. I hope he just walks right into those areas that you don't want anybody to know about and says, come with me. That's his cry today. That's his heart today. And that's why I know even if I hide, he doesn't care. He knows right where I am, who I am, and what he wants to do with me and what he wants to do with you. I love that about God, and that's why I can peace out. He's got us covered. Peace out. Have a great day. See you again tomorrow.